Hey guys, welcome to my little home studio. I've been wanting to incorporate some drone videos into my channel for a while now. Now I have two drones. I have the DJI Mini 2 and the Air 2S. I got the Mini 2 first and then upgraded to the Air 2S a little while later. And my wife and I just got back from the beach, so I got a chance to play with both of the drones and kind of compare some of the footage side by side. So I did a couple little test shots with the same settings of the drones, so I'll play them side by side. And I'll start out with a couple screen recordings from the iPad mini that I got, so you can see I use the same settings. On these first clips, it was interesting because I used ND32 filter on both of the drones in auto exposure just to get the shutter speed stepped down quite a bit so it's closer to the 180-degree rule without having to shoot in manual and constantly adjust and change ND filters and do all that based on where I'm at. I just want to let the drone do its thing so I can focus on flying. But the Mini 2 footage looked significantly different, and you'll see that in these clips coming up. So let's get straight to some clips. So here you see a screen recording from the iPad mini. We're in 4K 30, exposure value at 0, right where it needs to be because we're in auto, basically flying right towards the sun. It's a little before midday, it might be like 10:30. And then here's the Mini 2. Same thing, 4K 30, auto, exposure 0, flying towards the sun, and it looks a lot different. The Mini 2 is significantly darker for some reason, which is weird. I haven't noticed that much of a difference in the footage of these two drones before. So let's check out a side-by-side shot of the actual high-res footage from the SD card. So as you can see, the Mini 2 just looks much, much darker for some reason. I don't know if that's because we're flying into the sun and it's doing something weird in the algorithm where it's stepping way down, but I really don't know. I've flown these two drones a lot and I've never noticed that much of a significant difference. So if anybody can help me figure that out, let me know in the comments. The Air 2S looks great. Mini 2 just looks super, super dark and muted, and these were flown within minutes of each other. In the next clip, they were a lot more similar, and I actually shot these both within the same flight, so these are minutes apart. Just showing the 2x zoom on the Mini 2, and then we're going to pull the shot in to look at the pixels and look at the detail up close. And now the Air 2S, it's got a 4x zoom, so we got 2 times and then 4 times. And then I'm going to scale it way, way in to check out the detail and the pixelation up close. You can really pull in a lot of detail. For these next two clips, the settings were actually not the same, and that was my bad. I had the Air 2S set to record in the D-Log color profile, and I had the color assist on, so I couldn't visually see that I had it in D-Log. So in post, I did add a Rec 709 LUT, and I played with the shadows and highlights a little bit to get the footage to match more or less with the Mini 2. You can see that there is definitely more color that came out of that. As I brought the color back, you know, D-Log is going to just look a little bit better, but you can see that the Mini 2 still looks super great, and that's footage straight out of the drone that you don't have to mess with it. You can just shoot it, upload it. It looks good. So yeah, that's my bad on these two clips, but I think it still shows that they look great. So as you can see with this side-by-side shot, the Mini 2 on the left, I did no color correction at all. That's just straight out of the camera of the Mini 2. On the right, it was shot in log, so I had to bring some color back to it. I just put on the Rec 709 LUT and played with the highlights and shadows a little bit to get it to look similar to the Mini 2, but there's definitely more color going on there. And just more detail. It's a 10-bit color and a bigger sensor, but the Mini 2 footage still looks really, really great in my opinion. Okay, so in summary, these are both really good drones, and they're good for different things. So I'll start with the pros of the Mini 2. The very best thing about it is its size, its footprint. I mean, if you just want to take the drone, the controller, a couple batteries, you can easily fit it into a small pocket of a backpack. You can fit the drone itself in your pocket of your pants and put the controller in your jacket pocket or whatever, and you're good to go. So if you're camping, hiking, whatever, super small. Another good thing about it is the price. I think the Fly More combo, brand new, comes in at like $5.99. You can get the refurbished packages off eBay for like $4.50, I believe, or maybe a little less than that. and they're refurbished, certified refurbished through eBay. They actually come from the DJI factory and original packaging. That's how I got mine, and just checking out the batteries and stuff. They had never been charged before. Everything was sealed. It's basically like you're getting a brand new drone, so I would just do that if I were you. So yeah, size, cost. It does shoot, really high quality video. Most of the time, like the tests I was doing here are kind of irrelevant. Like with a drone, you're way up in the air. You're not going to see super details on the bark of a tree. You're not going to really need to crop your shots a whole lot. So if you're just using it for like a home video type thing or YouTube videos, it's an excellent drone. As far as the cons, once again, the size. So its wind resistance capabilities are a little bit more limited compared to the Air 2S. It can handle some pretty good wind, but it's a tiny drone. It's a lightweight drone. The propellers are a lot smaller, so the Air 2S is going to handle wind a lot more. As far as the Air 2S is concerned, the pros are it can shoot up to 5.4K, 30 frames per second. It can do 4K at 60. It has slow motion modes in 2.7K or 1080, where you can get a higher frame rate and, like 120 frames per second or something, so you can really, really slow down your footage. It has a 1-inch sensor. It has 10-bit color. It has two different log color profiles. It has D-Log and HLG, as well as a normal color profile. A con of the Air 2S is that it's big. It's a lot louder. It's bulky. It's still not a huge package. I mean, when you get the Fly More combo, it comes in a bag. Everything packs together in a pretty portable sized bag. You can throw it in a backpack or something. But if you're flying it in public, like at a beach, for example, or anywhere else, it's going to be more obvious than a little Mini 2. It's a lot louder. It's just more substantial of a drone. The lights are brighter, the LED lights. It's just more noticeable. People are going to look when you're flying that, and they might not even notice if you're flying a Mini 2. Another interesting point is that I bought the Air 2S right before the Mini 3 came out. I was well aware that the Mini 3 was coming out, and I already have a mini drone, so I already know, kind of what that entails. So I chose to get that drone because the Mini 3, once you get the Fly More combo with the smart controller, the new DJI controller and all that, you're going to be close to around the same price that you paid for an Air 2S. So why not get a bigger, heavier, more substantial drone? And the Mini 3, I believe, does 4K 60, which is awesome. It has sensors on it, so it does active track, spotlight and point of interest and all the things that the bigger drones do, but in a tiny package. But I don't know. I just wanted a bigger drone. If I want to take a little drone somewhere, I have the Mini 2, and it's kind of the best of both worlds. And I don't really use, even though I have an Air 2S, I don't use obstacle avoidance very much at all. I've rarely used active track. I never use master shots. I've tried out the hyperlapse stuff a little bit, but I'm just not really interested in that. I'm just going to fly the drone manually, and hopefully I can find more uses, for the drone to incorporate it into projects I'm working on and stuff. Another major pro of the Air 2S and of any of DJI's higher end drones with sensors on them is flying indoors, which is something that I've been doing a lot of recently where I work. And it's something I found out about pretty quick. Is like the Mini 2, it has no sensors on it except for on the very bottom. So if you're trying to fly it indoors and it can't pick up patterns and it can't sense things around it, it's going to go into what's called ADI mode. And it's essentially like the drone's on a sheet of ice. The drone just flies until you correct it, and it's just going back and forth and going crazy. So if you're trying to fly a drone indoors with any type of precision, it's going to be going in and out of ADI mode and going crazy. But with like an Air 2S or a Mavic Pro or the Mavic 3 or any of the higher end DJI drones, those sensors on the drone are going to kind of give it an idea of where it's at indoors, even though it's not hooked up to GPS, allowing you to fly indoors much, much, much better. It's almost impossible to do with at least the Mavic Mini and the Mini 2. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel and take care.